Chapter 23, Corporate. When I arrived back in Robbinsog the next day, immediately as I walked in through the door, I got a phone call. Hello? I answered the phone. I am at Conservatory/Central Park Drive station off the Green Line. I am now waiting for George. He just isn't here yet, said Dr. Morcassius through the phone. Has he called you to let you know where he is? No, I will take him to the secret spot in Gorfield Park, and then we will catch the next Green Line train to Ashland 63rd or Cottage Grove for a ride to Adams and Wabash. We should be home in about an hour. Okay. I have some homework to do right now, so I can't talk while I sit here at the station, so I need to hang up soon. Before I go, do you want me to get a head start on this search before you do? No, because no offense, I am the professional. And if you come across something I am scared that you won't know what to do with, so I would rather you wait an hour until we get back to Robbinsog. Dr. Morcassius then hung up before I was able to respond to that. What he just said to me I know came out a lot meaner than I know he wanted it to. I then went back to our room and began looking at the stain from yesterday again. The stain looked just as strong and as unfaded as if the stain appeared on the carpet 10 seconds ago. As I was looking at it, I was looking at it with one eye open and one eye shut. I was looking at it that way, then I can pretend my eyes to be analyzers better because if I look at things that way, it makes my concentration a lot better. Though the eye that was open, I was seeing things that were not really there, that I knew weren't really there on purpose. In my head, by using my eye, I was playing around with the cooler red of the stain, which was I couldn't remember in the stain, and I am having DeJa'Vu. There was a darker, lighter shade of red. I was doing that for what felt like 6 minutes, but really 60 minutes, and before I knew it, Marcus and George were back home. Hi, said George, stalling me. Hi, I said back. I had a talk with him. Everything is so regarding that between me and him, said Dr. Morcassius. Good, I said. May I ask, you look at the ground why do you look at the ground so deeply like that, Dr. Morcassius asked. Because I was analyzing the color of it in my head so I can turn the DeJa'Vu into a memory regarding the stain I am trying to find, I answered. Okay, said Dr. Morcassius. Let's begin looking, said George. Thank you for taking the words right out of my mouth, I said to George. We then began looking around the carpeted areas of Robbinsog and then I found it. About 5 minutes later, I found it! I yelled loud enough Dr. Morcassius and George to hear even if they were in the other side of Robbinsog. I didn't realize where I was when I found it. I was on the floor of my mom's side of the bed in my parents' room. Wow, that's huge, said George. I am shocked we didn't notice this before, said Dr. Morcassius. That is about 3 times the size and much a darker shade of red than the fruit punch stain on the floor in our room was, I said. Has DeJa'Vu turned into a memory yet? Dr. Morcassius asked. Hold on, let me think, I said. 1, 2, 3, boom! It hit me like a ton of bricks, and when it happened, I fell on the ground. Are you okay? George asked with sincerity in his voice. I remember, I said. Tell us about your memory, said Dr. Morcassius in a tone like he was issuing an order for me to. Here is what I remember. This memory is of me when George was just a few weeks old. His dad yelling at me I was about to touch the stain, I said. Why didn't he want you to touch the stain? I asked George. Because there is a blood stain, I answered. Boom! I was hit with more bricks. It looks like you just realized something else, said Dr. Morcassius. I did. I think I now have more evidence to see of my theory that I had a meeting with you about about that you spread to George and what I learned about in anatomy class yesterday being correct, I said with a happy fear in my voice. About Mommy's spinal cord? George asked. Yes, I answered. Let's go back to a room, said George. We then walked back to a room. Guys, I think we are on to something, said Dr. Morcassius when we were entering our room. My main question is, why didn't they ever try to get the stain out? George asked. George, I am sure Mom was over this with you yesterday, and you were being disciplined for drinking punch in an area where you weren't supposed to. It's because the carpet here in Robbinsog is made of a material where if it stains, nothing can get it out. I answered for George. Let's stay relevant here, said Dr. Morcassius. Just then the door to Robbinsog opened, and a few seconds later, our door opened to a room. What's up? Said our mother when she opened our door. Not much. How was work today? Dr. Morcassius asked. Fine. There was a delay as I was passing the merchandise mart, but before the loop on the way in, which added a good 10 minutes to my ride back from Kimball, but it was fine, said our mom. Okay, well, everything is fine here. We are just minding our own business, I said, looking at Dr. Morcassius and George winking. Okay, let's wait for your father to come before we discuss dinner. We're planning on going out to dinner tonight, said Mom. Our mom then left our room and shut the door. I then breathed a sigh of relief because I was glad that she had no idea what was going on. However, as soon as I was done thinking about that, she was right back in our room. Which one of you three moved my bed? Or Mom asked when she opened the door. No one, I said, which was honest because none of us did. Yeah, none of us did, said Dr. Morcassius, feeling quite concerned. I am going to ask your father if he moved it when he gets home. If he sees he did it, we can put this behind us. If not, we're in a family feud, and there will be no going out to dinner tonight, said our mom, quite irritated. So then she shut the door. What should we do when we have no time to get to the secret spot? George whispered. Put your cloaks on. We are going to go outside, said Dr. Morcassius. We then left Robbinsog fast because we didn't want Mom to catch us, and we were at the park in front of our building in the downtown Chicago loop. I now remember why I forgot about that stain for so long, because the bed was in a different position to cover it up, I said. Yep, we're now going to be in trouble for nothing, said Dr. Morcassius. What are we going to do? George asked. If it was not Dad, and not Mom, and not one of us, we know who did it, said Dr. Morcassius. The return? I asked. Correct, answered Dr. Morcassius. If it really was, then Robbinsog was invaded, I said. And the police will be called because that's how Mommy and Daddy will react if Robbinsog is invaded like that at all, which means the return could go to jail, which means we could lose our one chance to save Mommy, said George. Don't worry. If it was not our dad, then I have a plan, said Dr. Morcassius. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? I asked. Nothing, said Dr. Morcassius. Nothing, asked George. Yes, nothing, said Dr. Morcassius, winking. Why? I asked. Watch and learn, answered Dr. Morcassius. We then saw a train pull into Harold Washington Library, Stan Van Buren, and it was an orange line, the same kind our dad takes to and from work. And sure enough, a minute later we saw a man in a blue cloak walk out of the station, which meant that our dad was home from work. Hey, hey boys, said our dad as he was approaching our building. Dad, can I ask you a question? I asked. You just did, but yes, answered our dad. Did you move your bed? I asked. What? No, answered our dad. Then go to your room. First thing in me, you enter Robbinsog, I said. We then walked into the Robbinsog building to enter Robbinsog. Hey, honey, can you please, or Mom was saying before she was interrupted. I'm on it, said my dad. Or Dad then went to her room. Yeah, I did not do that, said our dad. Okay, boys, I'm going to count to 3. If none of you confess to it, no dinner out tonight, and the punishment will be a lot more severe to the person who did it. 1, 2, or Mom was saying before she was interrupted. I did it, said Dr. Morcassius. So now I know what Dr. Morcassius' plan was to protect the return. Morcus? You moved the bed? Or Dad was trying to confirm. Yes, Dr. Morcassius answered. Move it back to its original position now, said our Mom firmly. That's just what he did, and then afterwards our parents had more of a talk with Dr. Morcassius that we witnessed. We keep their bed in that position for a reason. I know that is weird, that one of the longer sides aligns directly with the wall, and the bed is totally out of center that way, but it is just how we like it, said our Mom. Why did you move it? Our Dad asked. Because I had the power to, and I always hated the way it looked when it looked that way, which is always, Dr. Morcassius said. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but how our room is laid out is none of your business, Sir Dad. If you do that again, you'll be grounded for a week. Whatever, said Dr. Morcassius, winking at me and George. We both winked back at him because we knew what was going on. Now it is time to choose dinner, said our Mom. Let's go to that Tex-Mex restaurant between Grand Station off the Red Line and Navy Pier, proposed Dr. Morcassius. You get no say in dinner tonight because, of moving our bed. You're only saying that because we take the Red Line to get there and you want to ride with your hood down, said our father. Actually, I am in the mood for that. Me too, said George. Me three, said our mother. Okay, that is 4 out of 5. Majority rules. We then walked to Red Jackson Station from our building and scanned ourselves in.